All right, so this is lesson 18. We're going to go over a couple things that might be familiar, at least part of it, and some of it might be new. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about multiplying three-digit numbers. Multiplying three factors. Remember that these are called factors, and then what it equals is called the product. So if we had 9 times 8 times 7, we remember the commutative property, which says that numbers can be multiplied in any order. So on this half, you see that I did 9 times 8 is 72, but then I still have to multiply that by the 7, and 72 times 7 is 504, and that's your answer. If we have another set of numbers, let's say 6 times 3 times 5, we would remember the associative property, which says that they can be grouped. So the commutative property says they can be multiplied in any order, but the associative property lets you group them. And when we group numbers in math, they have little parentheses. So maybe I see that 6 times 5 is going to give me 30, and that will be easier to work with than doing 6 times 3 then 5. So I'm going to take these, group them together, and then I still have all three numbers. You see? 6 times 5 is 30. 30 times 3 is easy mental math because I can just do the 3 times the 3 is 9 and then add my extra 0. So 6 times 3 times 5 is 90. So let's say we have to find volume. And volume we measure in cubes, remember, cubic centimeters. We talked about that in math. So maybe you would have a problem where they ask you, well, how many blocks or how many cubes are in this figure? Well, if I look at the top part there, I see that there are 6 of them, and that's an array. An array is we multiply the length times the width to find how many there are. So this is 2, and that's 3. So I'll do 2 times 3. It's here. Okay, it's my top layer. And how many rows do I have? Well, I have 2. So let's take that times 2 gives me 12 blocks total. You may also notice that this is the length times the width times the height. So whichever way you want to think about that, but that is how you would find how many blocks there are. Okay. The second part of our lesson is missing factors. We've done missing factors for addition, missing factors for subtraction, and now we are doing missing factors for multiplication. So we have W times 3 is 18. And there's a couple ways you can solve this. I could count by 3s and do 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. See that that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 3s. So W has to be 6. A faster way would be to say what number times 3 is 18. This is why we practice our multiplication facts so often, is so that you can say, okay, well, that's got to be 6 because I know that 6 times 3 is 18. So either way, and this is where you start writing your answer with the letter equals. I know we haven't been doing that in the equations you've been writing, but let's do that for these. Sometimes they'll write missing factor equations like this with the number just right next to the letter. If there's a letter and a number right next to each other, it means they're multiplied every time. So just put that in your mind. So 3n equals 24 is really 3 times n equals 24. And you know that 3 times 8 equals 24, so n has to be 8. For your notes, all you have to do is multiply this and then solve for m. On this one, though, I'd like you to try to figure out the best way to do that. See if you can do this one all with mental math. I think some of you would be able to do that. So challenge yourself It would work any way you multiplied it, but challenge yourself to look for the easiest way.